So today I'm staying in an RV for a couple of days. I got incredible cabin fever just being at home. You just get really complacent. Something in your body just gets lazy. And I just, on a whim, rented out an RV in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. And all I have are my camera equipment, my computer, my phone, a couple of notebooks, and I'm getting a lot of work done. So while I'm staying in an RV while it's raining outside and it gives creepy vibes, I thought I might as well review a creepy movie called Tales of Halloween, available to watch right now on Netflix. Now, this is an anthology series, and what that means is it's a lot of multiple stories all jammed into one. A lot of short films directed by different people, starring different people, into one movie. It's super duper campy. This movie is unapologetically just short, fun films that they've always wanted to do. They don't have stories that make sense. A lot of them are just ideas visualized with, again, no real story. And it's so much fun. It's actually really refreshing to see all these films that don't adhere to any structure, that they just play off of, an old trope, an old idea. Or, for example, one of them is just Hansel and Gretel, but in modern day times. And you see the witch and this older dude who's supposed to be like Hansel, and he's just scared as the witch keeps trying to eat people. And it's super trippy, it's super surreal. The guy has like makeup on him. He looks like dressed up like a doll. It's just so strange, but it's just a lot of fun because they don't really care, and then you kind of don't care, and you're just having fun and enjoying the stories. I give this film a B. I really enjoyed it. If you watch it, I'm telling you, you're going to think it sucks, but by the time you get to the end, hopefully it grows on you, because it grew on me. So as you hear the rain become louder, it's kind of freaky. It's been raining super hard. I can't really go anywhere. So maybe I'll just do a couple of more reviews, or who knows. I'll do as many reviews as I can before somebody breaks open the door and slaughters me or something, which is, I think, what's about to happen based on how the weather's going. And occasionally my RV's been shaking, like somebody's shaking it, but that's normal, right? Hey guys, I'm back. I'm still alive. So continuing this scary Netflix review series, I want to talk about The Lodgers. The Lodgers is about a pair of brothers and sisters that must do a certain amount of, they have to do a ritual of some sort to keep the spirits that are haunting their house at bay. And they can't really leave their house either, so they're trapped in this haunted house. And it's set in an older Victorian times, so there's a certain kind of things women can't do. There's young men returning from some kind of war, and that's kind of the backdrop setup. And it's about the relationship between these siblings and how they need to keep people away from their house and also satisfy these evil spirits that are haunting them for some reason that we will slowly find out. This movie is visually and stylistically very nice to look at, very pleasing to listen to. I thought this was shot very well. I thought that the actors and the actresses all did their parts really well. The lead actress, whose name I don't know, so I'm not really doing super good research right now, but her name is Charlotte Vega. I know this because I stalked her right after because I thought she was so beautiful. So visually, audio-visually, this is a really nice film. Once it comes to the plot of it, it didn't make as much sense. It doesn't really give you a satisfying arc, just because there's not that much going on, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But again, there are just certain scenes that I think are visually very pretty. Unfortunately, that doesn't really make up for it that this is a horror movie, and it's not that scary. That's my main point. I watched this a little while ago. I am a bitch, and I was not scared. So there's a lot of these little jump scares and weird things that happen like a classic horror movie, but they're not super relevant to the haunting, and they're not that scary. And that's what's, most people who watch these movies want. They want something truly scary, and if it's not going to be scary, it needs to have some kind of super compelling, drama or something wrong with their family. I didn't mind it though, because I was really enjoying the way it looked, the way it sounded. But I think if you're going in expecting a good horror movie, it's just it doesn't quite reach the bar. I would give The Lodgers a C plus. It's fine. It's fine. There are really good parts and not so good parts. Continuing this review series as I am continued to being rained out, but I'm still alive. Let's talk about Bad Match. Bad Match is a very low budget movie about this dude. He's kind of an asshole, and he's on Tinder a lot. It's not called Tinder. It's a new dating app within this world, but it's basically Tinder. And he's just using girls left and right. He's confident, he's cocky, he's got lines that he usually uses, and he's very successful with girls. And like the title says, he makes a bad match. So one of these girls that he kind of just uses and tosses aside turns out to be not so right in the head, and she starts to really fuck up his life. Bad Match is a really solid film. It's super low budget. You can tell right away based on the quality of the set pieces. They're just all set inside. It's not shot super well, like the image isn't super crisp, but with what they have, they really make it work. And the reason it works is because the story is so simple, it's so straightforward, and it's so well told. It's set up very well. This guy's an asshole, and this girl is going to be his reckoning. This is what he gets for mistreating all these women, and his life very quickly spirals out of control. And each thing that happens is definitely bigger than what happens before. And there's also a mystery element to what he's done in the past. And maybe he's more deserving of this than we think, but we're not sure. Everything about this movie is just done well. It does exactly what it needs to do to take you to the next scene, and you kind of feel what's coming, but there's just enough twists and turns to keep you engaged. Everybody involved is very good at their job acting, and yeah, it's a fun movie. I would give this a B minus. I recommend it. It's solid. As you can see, I've watched a shit ton of horror movies, but I've had no time to review them. And while I'm just in the mood to review because I'm totally by myself. I don't know where I am. I don't know who's outside knocking on the windows, so I might as well, make a record of this. So let's talk about Life After Beth, starring that person everybody likes because she's kind of weird and quiet and quirky and hot. She dated Michael Cera. I can't remember her name right now. Anyways, it's about a woman who's dating a dude played by something Dehan. He was in Chronicle. Sorry, I'm rambling, but a guy and a girl are a couple. The girl dies and she comes back as a zombie, and it's about him trying to maintain the relationship with her after she's dead, even though she's a corpse. So this movie is not that good. It's very strange. It gives me very weird vibes. It's almost like an art house film because there's a lot of conversations between characters that aren't explicitly tied to the core of the story. So it seems like they're trying to go for like something really deep, like talking about the human condition, talking about relationships, but the zombie girlfriend coming back and the boyfriend not knowing how to deal with her but having sex with her at some point. It's very strange. So I really didn't like this movie a lot in the beginning, but after I finished it, I could kind of understand maybe what they were going for. The problem is that the core of the story doesn't really work. How she behaves isn't very predictable. There doesn't seem to be like a super clear message or arc for her, because she seems like a nice girl in the beginning, but because towards the end she's struggling with becoming a zombie, it's not clear to me what the parallels are. You know, she's becoming violent and very bitter and just very difficult to deal with, like an ex-girlfriend. That's a fine parallel. But once you start to just violently attack people, like, you lose the connection to the real life situation. You know, I think the really good movies, this the supernatural situation of zombies would speak to something about real life. You know, it would make a point, but I can't really find the point. And then towards the end of the movie, it just kind of runs off the rails of what's happening. And yeah, I didn't get it. And I don't know if there's something to get. I think it's a really funny and interesting premise. I just don't know if it's a good enough premise to go for whatever, an hour and 45, however long this movie was. Alright, so there's two reviews that I still need to do that I really want to talk about, but I don't want to do it in this context because I think they deserve a proper review because they're actually good. So the two reviews that I'll save for later are The Ritual and The Descent. If you haven't seen them, I would definitely check them out. They are some of my favorite horror movies that I've watched this year, and just in general, they're very well written, and I'll talk about them later. So I'm looking at this little list I wrote. There's two other ones, I think. Emily that I watched, Prodigy, and I don't know. They don't even really speak to me that much. You know, I'm going to take a break from this reviewing thing. I think I'm going to try to work on my feature for a little bit, but stay tuned. Hopefully I'll be back.